it's good. Plus, you have those libraries where there's already presets in there that you can use, and just even if it's just changing the color to match your logo or something like that.
The only tool you have is albums. Now, a photo can be in multiple albums, but there's no moving within an album. However, you can drag them around.
And sort them kind of thing. Definitely some room for improvement. It's good. Plus, you have those libraries where there's already presets in there that you can use, and just even if it's just changing the color to match your logo or something like that.
The only tool you have is albums. Now, a photo can be in multiple albums, but there's no moving within an album. However, you can drag them around.
And sort them kind of thing. Definitely some room for improvement. Hello and welcome to this night's Tinkering with Tech. My goodness, how is everyone? I hope everyone's just got a bit, in America anyway, a big fat belly and just giving thanks and all that kind of stuff with Thanksgiving and everything. And as you can see, it's No Shave November. That's why I got this going on here. So that's a whole different thing too. But anyway, let's get right to it. I'm going to go to my guest, Gord Isman. I've had Gord on before. Gord's going to talk to us tonight, something that he showed me a little bit beforehand. I swear to God, folks, this is going to be awesome. Gord, you're on screen. Say hello to everybody.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. Michael, thanks again for having me as a guest on your show. And we're going to do something a little fun and different this evening.
Can't wait. It's so exciting. I think this one is really cool. This is going to be really cool. So I'm excited about this one. Let us know out there in comments. Just real quick, I'm going to do some little homework here for a second. Make sure if you have any comments during the show, any of this process, while he's talking about it, I'll bring it up. We'll talk about it. The other thing is make sure you can hear the sound out there. We always have an issue with sound. It's just my tradition to always screw up the sound. so if you guys can just let me know, hey, thumbs up, something that you can hear it or whatever, or say yes, you can hear it, whatever. So that'll be good. Gord, I'm not going to delay because I know you got a lot you want to cover and all this kind of stuff. Talk to me. Tell us what you're going to talk about tonight.
Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about animated GIFs and making your own animated GIF from within Camtasia. But we're also going to look at where you can get some cool assets to also bring into Camtasia that are animated GIFs and use them with the remove a color or green screen chroma key. So we're doing a bunch of things, and I think it's pretty cool. And if we're ready to get going, I'll dive right in.
Man, I'm ready. Like I said, I thought this was really cool. So I'm excited and ready to get going. So here we go. Let me get your screen share showing, just so everybody can see it. And here we go.
Okay, great. Thanks, Michael. Mm-hmm. So right off, you see I have on screen, there's a bunch of assets, and these are actually, some of them are animated GIFs and some of them are static things from within inside Instagram, where I was using Instagram stories. So I'm just going to play this for a couple of seconds here so you can see how some of them are animated. See here are Dancing Banana, the OMG, and the Snowman. And then the other elements were also things that I was able to take from within Instagram stories. So all the assets that you can create, whether it's hashtags or @mentions or animated GIFs or questions, any kind of little asset that you can add on to something that you're showing in your story, we have the potential to save and take outside.
So that's crazy. So real quick, I just want to ask you a quick question, just a personal question. When you say that, you can just go grab it. Are you grabbing like a GIF file, or what are you grabbing exactly? Just so everybody understands.
So what we're going to see in the end. Well, you're sort of like getting to the punchline before we get there. But okay, we'll say that. So our goal is to create, save a file. In the case of iOS, you're saving an MOV file to your camera roll, and then you're going to use that file to bring inside Camtasia. Okay. And it's going to be a green screen style file, and then we can just utilize it and then do some things inside Camtasia. I'm going to show you how to create GIFs. So this front part is more about just getting some additional assets to bring in.
Okay. Cool.
In this case, are GIFs inside Instagram stories.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so
I didn't mean to spoil it.
No, that's okay. That's okay. It's good. So now people kind of know the path of what we're going to get in terms of what kind of outcome we're going to have. So again, like here are the little dancing goodies here, the animations. And now, if you were to go inside Instagram, open up your Instagram, in the top left, there's the camera. So you want to select camera. So we're going through a process step by step. Mm-hmm. And this is what I did on my iPad earlier today in iOS. And it's very similar in, pardon me, everyone, I'm recovering from a cold. So sometimes my voice is going to come in and out.
Yeah, no worries. Don't worry about it.
Seriously. So you can also do this on Android, but I was only saving off from iOS today because of my iPad where I was working. Okay, so you select the camera, and then in the next step, you want to take a picture. And it doesn't matter what the picture is, because this is really just, I'm calling it a placebo for lack of a better word, to get something that we're going to be able to put a green screen backing on or cover. So, pardon me. Better take a sip.
Yeah, no worries.
So after you take a picture, you're going to see that on the top right corner here, there's the little draw pen. So you want to select the draw tool. And after you select the draw tool, your image is going to come up and you're going to see there's like a color palette on the bottom. I want you to, you would press down and select whichever color you want. Because we're doing green screen emulation inside Camtasia, we're going to select the green. And then you'll see this dropper area will turn green, but the screen is then going to go all green. So watch what happens here. So we select the color green. And the way we do that is by just pressing on the screen. You can press anywhere and you hold, then all of a sudden you're going to see it just fill an overlay on top of the screen where the picture was. So the picture can be anything. It's not relevant to what we're doing. We're just working through the process of how Instagram Stories works to carry you to the next stage. So if I did that, I'd now come up with a screen that's got the nice green fill in it, which is, you know, like a green screen background. Then you click on done, and then we're going to go through a swipe up. So when you swipe up, all those nice cool assets come up inside Instagram. So like I said at the beginning, I could put in a location tag, I could select a mention, I could put in a hashtag, I could do a poll, any of the features that you can. You can, if you were to swipe and scroll here, there'd be more things to choose from. But for our purposes, we're interested in looking at the GIFs. And bear in mind that we're looking at static pictures here. So right now, as we go through this process, there's not going to be anything animated till I get to the actual GIFs that I've saved to bring over. Is everything clear so far?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that makes sense too.
Questions?
No,
okay.
No questions so far.
Okay, so you click on GIF, and then you're going to see comes up a screen which has all kinds of animated GIFs. And you can select them one at a time. And again, you can scroll, and there's a whole bunch more. And all of these do different things. And we can't see that again because I was just saying that because we're dealing with a static screen.
Right.
Then after you select it, I left a screen out, which basically just shows it goes on to that pure green background we had. And I just went in again to select another. So you can only select one at a time. You can't multi-select the items. And then you're going to see what happens now. After you've selected a few, you get them onto a background now. And what I want you to bear in mind here is because we're going to save this off, and because these things are animated, when you click the save button down below, it will create an MOV file.
Oh,
and
cool.
So Bart's head spins, you'll see his eyes flash, and the hands clap with like a little starburst in between. So those are animated, so it knows when you go to save, it's creating an MOV file. But I've also thrown on there a question like, is Gord crazy? So I could take that over as a little asset, even though it's not animated. But the video will create all these elements there. Now, something to bear in mind, it's very important in order for this to work well, is to make sure that you can cut out, sort of square out each item that's on here when we get inside Camtasia, because we're going to want to crop it down and make sure we've covered the scope or the framing that includes the whole rotation or animation so it doesn't get cut off. So if I move those hands up higher and they were too close to the head, and then the head spun and it actually crossed in the path of like the hand clapping, then we wouldn't be able to separate them. So it's just planning before you take the assets out as a save file and in an MOV. And if you have a whole bunch to do, you can just save and do multiple files. You're not limited by what you save off to bring into Camtasia after to use as little green screen elements. Okay, so you hit the save as I'm showing you there with the little arrow down below. Now, this is the MOV file. So you can see that we have Bart's head spinning and eyes flashing, the hands clapping with the starburst. And, that's pretty cool. So that's an MOV file with the animations, right? So we see them spinning. So there they were in like a, like an infinite loop, because that's what it is. But what saves off of it, it does a certain predefined looping, and that's what you get. Okay. So now picture we have that MOV file, right? And now what I want to do is crop it off. Remember, we talked about cropping each one off. So I have right now, I'm on the scale button, but if I go to the crop level, you're going to see if I click on the image here and I stretch things out, you'll see the others are there, right? But I cropped it nice and tight so that the animation of the head is just what I want in here, and that's what I got. Okay. So likewise, I then did one that, worked the space to just get, just to get the hands, right? So you would do something like that, right? And you would work the hands, right? So that would look something like this, right? See what I mean? Okay, so I'm a little tight on the bottom, so you'd extend it a bit. Okay, there we go. So that gives you an idea. So I actually just copy that little clip multiple times, and then I crop out each section, which is what you're going to see now. So I'm going to show you how we actually implemented that. So first I created a little video clip of me saying, hey, I'm going to, I've got a few friends here and you're going to see them. So let me just play this so you can see how it came out.
Look and see how using some of these Instagram GIF animations work inside Camtasia via using the remove a color feature. So first off, take a look here. Here's one of my friends. And here's another. Pretty cool, right?
So there it goes to show you, if you think about it, your creativity can be endless if you can get little animated GIFs and elements like that and bring them in, whether you're making seasonal cards or just fun things, your creativity can go to whatever limits that you want. So I'm just showing you there. All I did was, sort of like record myself independently, and then I put the assets on the screen and crop them like we described. And this box here is just an annotation inside Camtasia where I said, here's one of my friends. And I put that in there because when you create the animated GIF, which you're going to see, I even did a little animated GIF of a piece here that you don't have the sound. So having the speech bubble in there gives context for people to understand what the purpose is of what you're showing. Okay, so now we go a little further.
And here's another.
Okay, so then now, so that gives you an idea of the scope of taking assets from something like Instagram, little GIFs, but you can get GIFs in other places. And I used the remove a color, and let's just see how I handled that. So if we go in here under the image, you can see I have the remove a color feature, and then I clicked on it there. And on the right side, all I had to do was, I'm just going to sort of reset it here. All I had to do was click on the color, click the eyedropper, and then come over to the square and click on it. And the color is uniform because it's a solid color. So it was very easy to do. And it was that simple. And the color's removed and gone, and the animation shows great. Okay. Likewise with the other one, I did the same thing. So I just wanted to show you. So there was two other assets there. Okay.
That's awesome.
Next, do we have any questions so far, Michael, or is it all smooth sailing?
Nope. Everybody's like, nice. This is awesome. Great tutorial.
Okay, good. As long as we're dealing with things if they come up. Now, the next piece, I'm just laying the groundwork here. I got one of those handheld gimbal units for my smartphone. I got the Giant Smooth 4, I think it's called, and I've only used it a couple of times, but I thought I'd do something cool with like a quick whip motion and a facial expression and create an animated GIF out of that, which I actually used and put out on my community tab, which we'll see in a minute. But I'll show you first that I did this little clip, okay, with that. So this was filmed on my smartphone. So see here, I'm just trying to get things going. I'm still learning it, so It's snowing here in Toronto when I did this last week. And then, so I just did like a shift and the gimbal followed with me in a facial expression and I'm looking up. And then, as you can see, I'm still moving here. So there's movement the whole way. Now, what's gonna be cool about this is I'm gonna show you that was a clip recorded from my cell phone, but I had to do a few things in order to make it have value and perform effectively as an animated GIF. So let's look and see what a couple of those things that I did, okay? But first, what I'll do before I go there is I'll show you the finished product, and that is right here. So we're in what's called my community tab on my YouTube channel. If we come down to the bottom here, see here, you can actually, this is like adding a picture. So it's an animated GIF, and I put some text in and I just said, wow. And then I said community tab. Like I was just so excited to share that I got the community tab. And I thought this would be a cool way to express it, you know, something beyond just the text and a static image. And I put a GIF in, and you can put this kind of thing and even put it in emails, and it'll animate just like this. So it's not like a video, like, you know, video that won't play in stream. Like this will actually play in stream inside your email client. So, but what you can see is that you can see that at a certain, I had to do things like adjust speed. Plus I also played with, you can see at the end, in order for this to work, where I say community tab, you see I'm actually frozen on screen and my frames extended so that you can have a long enough experience to absorb the text that's communicated on the screen.
Exactly. Yeah, that's nice.
So this is why it's kind of cool that, you know, yes, there's all kinds of things out there. We can just make an animated GIF instantly out of a clip, but we're actually using some of the power inside Camtasia to leverage and get an end result that's tuned nicely. And the other thing is, as you've seen with many animated GIFs, you can see that there's a certain, I'll call it jitteriness to it, and that has to do with the frequency of frames per second. Now, for this to be totally smooth, I would have been using my 30 frames per second, like we saw in the clip originally. It ran smooth through, right? This sort of like this is actually at 5 frames per second. So what you're seeing is me animated, but every fifth frame, or sorry, 5 frames per second. So, but it actually has a cool effect. It's almost like a stop motion feel to it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you contrast that to, like I said here, when I was playing it at 30 frames per second, like if you look here, right, this is totally smooth, right? And the animated GIF has, you know, a whole different feel to it, right? By design. Right. That's what I'm trying to say. This ultimately was by design. So I decided, and you're going to see how I tuned that. Now let's go into Camtasia, and I'll just walk you through how I did that. So there I start out with, first off, I'm going to show you that down below, I added clip speed here, and you see it says 1.34. So I've actually sped this up to a degree so that it goes through faster. But watch this. You're also going to see that it's still smooth, because look. Yeah. See that? Mm-hmm. So it's still smooth because we haven't rendered it. When we produce the GIF output, that's when we're playing with the rates, the frame rates per second. So you can't see that now. So you'll go through, the approach would be to go through an iteration of a few cycles, play with the frame rates, and also depending, you know, we'll talk in a minute about the application that you're going to use to create your animated GIF. You may or may not want a smooth solution or jaggedy. It may not even appear jaggedy. It may be smooth, even at 5 frames per second, depending on what you're doing. Right. So I used the speed up, clip speed to speed things up. And then I put a little annotation here, some text with a white shape, and did a little transparency effect. And I tinkered with the opacity so that it wasn't too bright and too strong to blast me out such that you would not still look at me. So that's a balancing act going by design, you know, because if I made that too strong and too bright, you'd be more focused just on the text. So then as we go through there, then the next piece, you're going to see all of a sudden, it's stops and then it gets solid. So what I did there is I used the extend a frame, and then I just extended out that frame for as long as I wanted it to go. So you have the ability on any clip. So right here, if I press the Alt key, see, I'm at the end of the clip here. This was the clip before, right? But I'll just go to the end of the clip. And if I click on the Alt key, let me get this right. There. Oops. Sorry. See, it will take an extension frame. It automatically extends the last frame of the video clip. So you'll see here, this goes.
Which is in essence like copying that last little bit and making a photo of that, basically, is what you're doing. It's not
exactly.
making the video go on. The video does nothing else. There's no more animation. It's just it's a way of capturing a still image.
Correct. But this is still all that one big clip. So it's extending it. So when I say the video clip, it's actually just running longer, but it's with a still frame, like an image, just like you're saying. You could alternatively snap that image. You could go and under
I think it's under I learned this the other day. I think it's under share.
And here it is. It's under share, export the frame as. You could also just grab that frame and, like you're saying, Michael, create an image and tack it on the end, make it any length. But so that's just to show you what I did.
What a cool trick.
As a technique over here to extend what I wanted to do. And so again, I'm trying to say that's by design, so that when I bring up the next piece of text, you know, the message is on. I extended it just long enough so people can absorb the text, the information that's there. And so that whole effect, believe it or not, like if I were to sit here and measure it, it says it's here about 5 seconds, right? But now when we go back and do it, you know, we can play with the length. When we do the number of frames per second, it will determine whether it's smooth or jagged in those 5 seconds. So again, here's playing it. You can see it's totally smooth right through. And when we go back to our YouTube version, you can see how it is. It's got that sort of jaggedy kind of stop motion effect, which is kind of cool with my eyes moving around and my facial expression. It kind of adds to the effect. So how did we get to doing that? So now we'll see how that's achieved. So if you select the area that you want to produce, and that's how I typically do it, and so I used the the handles to the left and right of the playhead, the right here, and I just sort of spread them out to get a selected area. Then I use the right mouse button, produce timeline selection as, and then under the selections here, you're going to see there's custom production settings. You go in there, click next, and then down here, down the line is GIF as an option for choosing to create an animation file. Then when you click next, here's where we had the frame settings. So at first I experimented with just a totally smooth result. And then I played with 15, 10, and then I eventually got down to 5 frames per second, and I got the desired result I want for what I was doing here. So I was happy to have that kind of stop motion effect. Okay, now I did a version of this with 30 frames per second. And the other thing I want to show you is that the file sizes will actually get quite large, and that may be a concern for what you're putting out in where you're going to post it, because if the length of animation that you're doing is too long and you go for 30 frames per second, it may be too long, too big a file size to attach to a YouTube, just to an email or just something like the YouTube community tab, depending on the size. So if we go here under produced, I'm just going to show you. So here I have Gord and Bart, and first I produced this. I'm just going to see here. This is just 1.9K, and then at 30 frames per second, the same thing took 12K, 12 megs, sorry. So you can see the file size is significantly different. Yeah. And one of the other attributes I set as part of that, and I shouldn't have stopped this so early because we're going to go through. Okay. now was I wanted to change the settings on the, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to come in again. We're going to go down to custom. We're going to go next. So see, it's 1920 by 1080. Come to GIF. So here's the frames, right? But then I also don't need 1920 by 1080 to stick inside an email, right? So I like to get about a width of 800, but many people go much smaller, maybe even like 400. And this all affects your file size. So the combination of the frames per second plus the width and height will determine the size of that animated GIF. Many of the GIFs that you see that people toss in comments and social, they're very tiny. They're like 50 KB, 50 kilobytes, 30 kilobytes. They're small and they're very tiny. So you can do that here too. We can make it very tiny. So I'm just showing you have those options. And then next,
you can actually make it different sizes, right? I mean, just have 2 or 3 different sizes.
Absolutely. All right, and then so you've seen the sizes and all those differences, and now I'm just going to show you. So here, there's a reason why I did this one. I'm just trying to think. I separated it out. Oh yeah, so I was just like wanting to make this one very short with just my facial expression. So see here, like if you look at this, it's just my expression to go to there. So the length of this one is just 3 seconds and change. So I'm just showing you, here's how, make one nice and tight. And then we're going to do this, and we'll go down to custom. And then we're going to go next. We're going to do GIF. We're going to go down to 5 frames again. And then I'm going to make this one small. I'm going to go like, I don't know, 300 by 168. Next. And then I'm going to produce it and make a GIF. And this is for Michael's. Okay. And this is 5 frames per second. So just 5 frames per second. All right. And then bang. So it's ready. So see how small that is?
Wow.
And that's more common a size that you would see as an example. I would crop it even tighter, and maybe by design. That's like the size of something you might toss in a comment on a Facebook thing as an example, right? So it's just like, trying to show you now we can see how tiny that file was by going here and see the one we created. Let's just see what it says. So 647 KB. Okay.
A lot different.
So the files keeps getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
So there's a lot you can do to tune it. And there are other GIF makers out there that make them very lean and have some more parameters and tuning. But, it's quite amazing that you can do this even inside Camtasia. And did any more comments or questions come up?
No, just Andrew saying that what I would give to have that kind of patience to sit there and go through each tedious little thing. Yeah, I like that. I tell you, I learned something though tonight, and I'm a Camtasia user, so I'm just telling you, I learned that about selecting an area and producing just that part. I never knew you could do that.
Oh, well, that's like something that's so important to saving you time in your development and in producing your videos, Michael, because you know how oftentimes when you're going through stuff inside the the timeline and you're moving the cursor and somehow things aren't showing in real time, they're glitching and all that, and you go, damn, I don't know how this is going to turn out.
So you can just do that section just to check it out.
Yeah, so I just select, it may be a transition that just looks totally off.
Love it.
And I go like, this can't be right. I highlight 10 seconds, cross over the transition barrier, render it, and I go, boom, it works. So I know I don't have anything to fix later. So I'll often use that technique throughout my development to ensure that, when I go to do the render of the big thing, that I'm there. Nice. And that I don't have to rework something and I'm addressing it while I'm focused on it, right? That's very important.
Learn something new every day.
Cool. So one of the other, so now I just want to mention a couple of other uses for this. So we did this, to look at something that was kind of humorous and funny. And I showed you an example of how I posted it in my YouTube channel, in my community tab. And, so it's also a great thing to use for things like how to manuals or demonstrating different things. And because oftentimes when you're demonstrating, software as an example, it's not that you need super high res, super smooth motion in terms of what you're creating. Sometimes it's often a good idea to say, you have to go select like we just did and say, oh, we need to go to the share and we need to click on export frame and do blah, 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 right? So what's cool is for engagement, you can have some text context and have a little animated GIF below that runs in a loop that just shows them the selection in the menu, and they know, oh yeah, that's where I need to go to find it. So they got a visual representation alongside some kind of text context. So you can use it in things like how-to manuals and stuff like that, and demonstrations to show different points. So that's a great use. And I've said already a few times, using it for things like social, for comments, and sometimes just showing, creating an animated cool reaction, like just a facial expression or a laugh or a giggle or something. Like, they can be just ultra short, and you can, fabricate your own stuff, or even, make them off video clips of other things. But, you need to be careful too about things that you do or don't have licenses or rights to access.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
And you don't want to, go there. And I like the idea that these animated GIFs can be nicely embedded inside an email, and they're live. So often, some people may put that animated GIF as a teaser, and they'll have like a video symbol in there. So people will think it's like a real video playing, and they can, make that, something as a clickable, linkable asset inside your email, in your autoresponder, and link out to the actual video to play. So it sort of draws in people a little more to act. So it's like a little more powerful call to action. And another more common experience for things like this are cinemagraphs. People often look at those kind of things where there's just, like a piece of a beautiful picture or something that's actually moving, and they'll make some kind of cinemagraph and then create like, an animated GIF out of it. And, they make for very cool picture motion, like images, animated GIFs to look at. But, I don't know if people are familiar with cinemagraphs, but that's another cool way to do that kind of thing.
I have a question for you. This is on a personal level again, just something that I have a question with. And I know you have Snagit as well, because I've seen you using it to capture screens on screen. Does Snagit have something like this too, to create a GIF? And I'm only asking, I know we're talking about Camtasia, but I know they're owned by the same company, so I was just curious, because I know that you can grab individual things, but is there a way to do something of this nature?
Yeah, I don't use it, but you have the ability to save as a GIF.
Okay.
So that's and with Snagit you can actually record snippets of video. Yeah. You can truncate, cut, and trim, pieces. Yeah. From the front and the back. It's very powerful.
And that's why I brought it up, because some people can't afford the Camtasia program, but they can afford Snagit. So if it can kind of give and do, not as it probably is in detail to embellish and all the different features, but I also wanted to know if it could do something quick and simple kind of thing.
Yeah, well, you have the ability to do a lot of that resizing stuff as well. And I'm not sure about whether frame rates, like when you start to get into dealing with things like clip speed, frame rates, those are all features of the editor, right? So, but in a rudimentary sense, you have ability there, for sure. And so if you didn't have pardon me, an editor to do some of those things, you might factor that in up front in terms of the way you actually record what you're trying to do. Oh,
good point. Yeah, good point.
Yeah. So I mean, like there's different ways to, create, and you just need to think about where you have the power to do what, and think about how you can compensate in one area to achieve that same kind of result. It's all about having fun with the creative side of it. And so I think, Michael, that's kind of good coverage of what we wanted to talk about. Did you want me to, first of all, did any other questions come in, or?
Nope, no other questions. Just, If you wanted, how long will it take you to touch on it, the assets part of it or whatever?
I can just do a quick.
Do a brief
quick,
one. Do a brief
quick-
one. Because this
Sure.
is good stuff. This is all really good stuff, and I want you to be able to show and let them see.
Okay. So, in this last year, around the time that I believe TechSmith came out with this like really supercharged asset library with the volume of content, they now have over 500,000 assets in here.
Wow.
And I think it's quite an amazing resource because, people don't realize video clips, as an example, are quite expensive to buy on a one-off basis. There are many places where clips may start at like $20 and go up. And if you're buying 4K footage and things like that, it can be even more expensive. And then, so you're often buying subscriptions for individual things, like something for video, something for audio, something for images. It's not often that they're all integrated together unless you have some fancy subscription. What's cool is TechSmith has come up with this library, and it's really loaded. And one of the resources, and you're going to be amazed when you see this here. So, is that a lot of the video footage clips come from Storyblocks, which is a well-known, that used to be Video Blocks, a well-known massive library for video footage. And that's included. I don't know, it's not their entire library, obviously, but it's pretty comprehensive. So I'm going to show you that. So now if I were to click on footage here, and if I were to key something in, and I were to just go like Christmas as an example. So you can see there's all kinds of, video clips here.
Oh, wow.
There's tons of them, and they keep, once you go to the limit, it comes and loads more. And
these are free assets?
So some assets are free,
okay,
and some are not. And and when it says here, and especially in footage, it's mostly part of the subscription. So it would say premium content here. See that?
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
In the words. But if we go, so I'm just giving you examples of footage. Like, give me another topic if you want. I'm just trying to show people the vastness of the library and scope. It's pretty cool. So, do you want to give me a
just
little
how about
topic?
something like countries, just to show different countries, maybe.
Countries?
Yeah, there you go. So it shows globes and flags. That's cool.
Yeah, coins.
Mm-hmm.
So all kinds.
How do you? Okay,
and the other
so
cool thing is,
how do you tell which ones are free? I mean, I know I was
Okay.
listening, but I wasn't listening. Like, which one here would be free? Any of these?
These say premium.
Okay, so they're all
content.
premium. Okay.
Yep. But I'm just trying to see. Let me, if I go back to reset.
And is this something you pay extra, or is this part of your Camtasia?
Yeah.
or
So
what
this is
version
part
you
of
have?
it's a subscription.
Okay.
But there are things, there are a lot of assets here from a Camtasia standpoint. That's what's interesting and unique about what's here. So, it's initially been its purpose for like Camtasia owners, but because there's all of this other stuff, I think, wow, it's an incredible resource, whether you're just, Camtasia Snagit users, or whether you are or aren't, because of things like the footage. And when we get to images, like, look, check this out, photos,
Yeah.
So you could just, say anything like, let's just say something like laptop mock-up. I mean, that's something like, so, they'll have different mock-ups and designs, which, sometimes people use.
Or you wanted to show like a cell phone or something, or you wanted to show.
Yeah.
Just
I'm not using the right thing. If I did green screen, that would give me, a lot of those kind of things. There'll be mock-ups in here, I know, because I looked earlier. See, here are all kinds of mock-up designs.
Yep.
And things like that people can use and substitute images and video stuff in. Okay. So I'm just sharing with you, but what's super powerful for people that are, Camtasia owners, you have intros, motion backgrounds, intros, lower thirds, and outros. So watch this. If I click on intros, these are all assets that work. So see here, it says free content. So those are free content.
Oh, okay.
If it says premium, it's part of the subscription. So there's a lot of free content in here. So the asset library doesn't have, that comes inside Camtasia 2018 is, so there, although there's new assets, like there's going to be additional free ones on here.
Gotcha.
So a lot of people haven't even gone here to explore. Like for example, you know, these ones are new. Like this one, I'm pretty sure is not there in the default. I'm just showing you. So a lot of these are, you know, some new designs, and they're really cool. But these are Camtasia assets. So if I were to go download this, I have something that I load right up to the inside Camtasia.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
And it's like, you know, like watch this. If I download that, see it's a live zip file in the bottom corner here, Michael. And then I just double click open it, and it brings it right inside my Camtasia library, where I open the live zip file and bring it in. So you have all kinds of lower thirds and intros and stuff that you can get here. And, you know, I love doing tutorials to show people how to tune up those kind of things. So that was intros. Then we saw lower thirds, and then, you know, they've got some outro designs as well, you know, that will give you some social stuff to look at, you know. So, you know, it's pretty cool. It's got a whole combination of things, which is very helpful. And then in terms of motion backgrounds, there's all kinds of like cool designs here in here that you can use. And see, some of these are free content in the, see here, these all say free. Yeah. So a lot of, you know, it's worthwhile going to explore and just key in and search, get an appreciation for the size and scope of the library. And I was super surprised at how great the audio library was. And I feel like it's you know, in here is a good portion of what's in audio blocks. So if we go in here, you know, click anything if I want a whoosh sound. Okay. So like, check it out here.
Nice.
Like, look at here. There's like, you know, pages of them. Okay. And I don't know if you've ever used other subscription services, but, you know, if I want to hear a bell, you know.
Yep. I love this.
So the reason why, for me, because I do enough work that it warrants to have a subscription, the biggest factor for me is the time-saving element, that I can go and literally, like we just did here, key in a whoosh and pass my cursor over a dozen items. And within a minute or two, I found what I need. I mean, you know what it's like when you buy asset packs and you have all kinds of stuff, getting that stuff organized, searchable, you know, then sometimes you have to go by memory. Some things have the ability to be index search, some don't. And it's just, you know, it's crazy. So I'm saying that for some, this kind of solution, you know, may be a great option. And that was for special sound effects. And then there's a whole complete library of music. Okay, like you get in here, key in dramatic, and they go into something like this.
I love that.
Oh. So you can, so you can see there's just like a huge library to go crazy with and explore. And so I just wanted to like take a few minutes to show people and bring to their awareness that there's a great vast resource, and TechSmith provides it as a subscription service, and it's like $199, I think, from normal full price. There's still a bit of a sale on associated with the holidays, but you know, something to consider, because just to let you know, to buy video blocks alone, just the video license is $150. Forget having all of this audio, all this images. And in this case, if you're a Camtasia user, all those intros, outros, and effects that function inside Camtasia. So, you know, it all depends on what your needs are. And I just thought it was great to show people that there's all kinds of assets here that you can use. And, the intro library is quite vast as well. So, something to consider.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to do this quite often, and it'd have to be part of what you do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to use it quite a bit in order to justify, $200 a year. And it's an annual thing, right? It's not a one-time thing. It's an annual thing that you have to do. What if you did use it for a year, got all the assets that you could, put them all in and got them all and then everything, and then just stopped, I guess.
Well, I guess you can go crazy downloading.
Yeah.
And once you have the assets, you have them, right? And, it's
I
like,
was just curious on that.
Like take something like this.
Yeah.
Spinning out that, and you can see the TechSmith Camtasia.
Yeah, they actually use that
cool.
in one of their instruction videos. They use that exact same one, so I know that one.
See, this one would look cool with tinkering with tech.
Yeah.
And then have a nice sound effect you add to it.
Yep.
And so I mean, when I do client work, a lot of people want to do intros, intro bumpers, outros, or just like short branded elements. And you're not getting paid to spend 3 hours to search to come up with something like that to use.
That's
or
right.
to modify. So, in my case, I need something that I can be very efficient with. Like this one we're looking at here, I've adapted many times, and it is a great thing. In fact, I show this one. I've done transition concepts with this example here, the line wipe one. And your point is totally valid. And there's a lot of good stuff inside the library that comes free that people can adapt and learn to. And I've done many tutorials on my channel showing people how to do stuff like that for intros and lower thirds. So people can go and explore there in my playlists, or just search up those words like lower thirds or intro in my search. And you'll find out some cool tutorials to work with some existing library assets. That covers everything, Michael, that I wanted to get through.
I'm glad you did too. That is just awesome. That's so great. I really do appreciate it, because it's fun. It's fun stuff, especially if you're a Camtasia user, which you know that I am, because I'm always like, oh my God, Gord, I have a question. How do I do this? I'm trying to do this and I can't do it. I know you can do it, but I can't remember how to do it.
Yeah, well, it comes from a lot of experimentation.
Yes, I'm sure.
and sort of diving deep, because I'm always fascinated by the potential of what you can do with Camtasia. And a lot of people don't realize that there's a lot more than meets the eye. And it comes through practice and play and breaking things and having that patience, like you said, having the time to experiment. So, yeah.
Yes, awesome. Gord, I really do appreciate it. I'm not sure. Gord may be here for just a little bit, maybe not. I don't know. It's up to him. And I know he has plans after this, so we'll find out. But any community member, I'm going to put the link over in the community. Come join us. If you're a paying member, we have a community where we do this, and we have shows every Wednesday. Part of the benefits is coming in the after show to meet some of our guests. Anybody that I will put that link in the community. Please, thank you very much for watching. Anybody that rewatches this from last time, I'm gonna tell you what. Go to Gord's page. I swear to goodness, his YouTube community and his page and all that kind of stuff, just like he showed you tonight, all that stuff. I'm gonna put the link in the chat. Here is the link to Gord's channel. God, I hope I spell right, because I can never type fast enough. But there's the link. You guys go over there, check out his channel, subscribe to him. And I'm going to tell you what, he has some really, really informative and good stuff on there. I love it. I think it's awesome. I follow it because I use it. So I need somebody who's an expert. A lot of times I'll go search a video, or I'll just say, like I said, oh my God, Gord, I need your help, please. Can you show me how to do this? So, but no, seriously, anybody, and watch the past videos. We had a couple shows before. Come on those shows and come check it out, because we did a couple good ones before that I just love it. I think it does a great job with showing you. He does a great job with showing you in detail what he's doing, how he's doing, all the layers, you learn a lot about all the different stuff and how to apply some of this stuff. So, Gord, once again, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
I really do.
I am able to hang on because
Okay.
my brother couldn't make it out, so I come out.
All right, I'm going to put that link. I'm going to put that link for the community. And like I said, anybody that wants to sign up for the community, description will be down there. How to do that, everything in this. Once this is over with, you'll see in the description. You'll see that. Feel free to join us, and we really do appreciate it, Heather and I, for all of the community members that we do have that are supporters and things like that. And it's stuff like this that we try and do for everybody. That's what we're trying to do and make it one big community, because it's hard to find a really good community that is actually visibly community. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, they use the word community in YouTube, which I think is not really a community. It's just you and your people. It's not really community. Is everyone contributing, and you can't even post in that area. If I wanted to post on yours in your community, I can't do that. So to me, that's not community. But anyway, that's just my opinion. That's a whole different show we could talk about. But anyway, folks, thank you so much for watching. I am going to close out and send that link to the community members. Thanks again, and like I said, just leave something in the comments if you have any questions. Anybody that rewatches. Thank you.